That's when we just folded them so they couldn't see it.
Well, it didn't have your name or number on it, did it?
I don't know, but we didn't give them a chance.
That was being resourceful in my
That was very resourceful.
It was creative, yeah.
And it's funny that the guys in the tent with me lived up the Mount Zion Road.
Oh, yeah.
Aiken was his name.
Aiken.
What was his first name?
Huh?
What was his first name?
Neil, I think. Was his
'Cause I wonder if we know somebody here named Doyle Aiken, and I wonder if he's related to Doyle Aiken or not.
Yeah, I know Doyle Aiken.
Yeah, he ran for coroner and all that kind of stuff.
It might be. But anyway, we didn't pay for them overkill.
Yeah, that's good.
That
So when you
a lot of money out of your pay if you had to be paid
It
for.
wasn't good, but $60 a month.
Oh, really? Okay.
But you know, back then that was decent money.
Yeah. Back then, a new house cost about $6,000 or something like that. So what? Like when you landed in Korea, had the war had already started when you got there, right?
Oh, yeah, so the war started in June, and this was the next May.
Gotcha. So it was about 11 months later you were in.
All that stuff went north.
And y'all went north originally, right? Is that the photo?
That's my dad. That's his brother.
Oh,
That's
wow.
that big coat
That's
he's
Hugh,
talking
right?
about.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's cool.
Was that taken in Europe?
I think so, in France.
That probably took,
Somebody gave that to me. You ain't when he gave
Sandwich
it to
and
me.
fries.
Aunt Winnie did, I
Turkey
think.
sandwiches and fries.
What is it?
Turkey sandwiches, fries.
Yeah.
With crispy
I
bacon?
can barely see it running.
We should let you finish your lunch, huh?
We got it. We got it.
I'll talk to you in between bites if that's all right. So when you got into Korea, did you automatically go north of the 48th parallel? Because we had at that point we were progressing into northern Korea, right?
they were making a push. The Chinese were making a push, and when we
What?
got to the line,
Reuben?
and, the first night on the line, when we had to move, the next morning we had to move out and start retreating. So that,
And your entire division got surrounded, right? Is that how it worked? Or?
well, I wasn't there long enough to know anybody but the few of my squad members.
Gotcha.
I didn't know what was going on, to tell you the truth. Except when they started shooting it.
Wow. Okay.
Can you talk about the day you were captured?
Yeah, that was.
Air fryer now.
See, we were on the top of a ridge, and Korea had a lot of wars before the Japanese. So the foxhole, the trenches were on top of these ridges. So we were in those. That's where we were in the ridges, in the trenches on the ridges. So that's where we spent the first night. And next morning they told us we had to move out. So we spent the whole day going from the top of one mountain to the top of another. So when we got to the top of the mountain, it was just about dark. And so there was some kind of mine there. That, I don't know what they got out of it, but they put us in there with the women and children and the Korean people. And that was the first night, and put some in us. It wasn't about 5, 6. It wasn't a big mine. It was about 6 foot tall and about 15 or 20 foot wide. And so about during the night, the oxygen gave out of everybody in there breathing, and that was the worst part. But I remember I had to get down next to the wall to get enough oxygen, you know.
Those are my onion rings.
Next morning the next day I was sore, but early in the morning when they told us to get out,
I had onion rings with mine.
the guys got out. During that first day, they were several wounded with us. They was on them air panels, you know, identified so the helicopter could pick them up. And we carried them with us all day, and so we left out of there.
No, you did not.
Left them outside that night. The next morning we went out there, and about the time we got us all out, they popped up everywhere. The Chinese popped up everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Were they firing at you and all
No,
that?
they didn't fire.
And you were pretty much. It was pretty much. You were surrounded essentially. Right?
Hands up and I'm done. I had to let it cool
Did
off.
they treat you okay, or were they pretty rough on you?
No, they were human. Most of the time, see, they took prisoners with the idea of converting them into communism.
So you had classes at the at the camp when you finally got there. Didn't they have classes to teach all about communism?
Oh yeah,
They were trying to indoctrinate the Americans.
I remember you telling me that you were glad that the Chinese captured you and not the North Koreans, because the North Koreans were really mean. Is that what your experience or what you had heard that they were? Okay.
I just think that growing up like you did on a farm and being out in the woods and everything, Daddy, was a big help to you going through all of that. You knew how to look out for yourself and get things done.
Did you find that the city boys struggled a little more than the country boys in the captivity, or was it about the same?
well, the worst, the atrocities I saw was the next morning after we spent the night in that ditch. We were going up that mountain. Some big old guy he just didn't know what to do, but he resisted, and as I walked by, they had shot him in the head.
Oh, my.
And you can believe we paid attention after that.
Did you, so you didn't hear the shot, but you saw the result of the shot?
Yeah, I didn't hear that. See, I was down the line. But they could be mean if they wanted to be.
Yeah. Did they if you're comfortable talking about this, did they torture you guys or anything like that, or did they?
Well, if you resisted everything they tried to do for you and disrupted the teaching and all of that and tried to escape, they would put you in these, they use a hibachi pot, and then they give off a gas and put you in a room and suffer you that way. And one guy, he was a boxing champion from Pennsylvania, and he gave them a lot of trouble, tried to escape, and they tied you up, your hands above your head, and today he's probably got them scars trying to get out.
And we always had to. I'll have to add some things in so you can take a bite every now and then, Daddy. But didn't you say that? Well, I'll just tell you this story. We went to the beach when I was a teenager. We were walking on the beach, and Daddy said, and this was at night, Daddy said, "Do y'all smell that?" And it was marijuana. And we had learned in school, they were teaching us about that. So I recognized it. I don't think I said anything, and Daddy said, "That's marijuana." And my mouth went down to the ground. I thought, how does my dad know what that smells like? But didn't you say there was somebody over there in the camp with you that would get some?
Oh yeah. you know, GIs will trade stuff, so they would, we had something they wanted, like, we got some bread, and they would trade bread with marijuana, you know.
They didn't know if you liked them or not.
Was you captured for 18 months? Do I remember that right?
No, 27.
27 months? Really?
Too long.
Man. Were you able to hear from home at all, or was it total isolation? Or
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing about it.
Have some. You can have some.
The-
Stick my fork in there because
May-
to me. Share it.
A few days after the 18th, they notified the parents that was missing in action. So we went from May to December, and then that's when everybody back home knew it was right.
wow, oh my!
That was agonizing.
Imagine for both for you and for your wife. Now, did you have any children at that
I
point?
wasn't married then.
Oh, okay, that's right.
So I remember you telling us, Daddy, that when y'all started getting mail from home, that you would read each other's letters. Y'all would share letters. I think there was a lot of conversation about food, wasn't there? Food they missed. And I remember Mama had some letters. And it was either, I guess it was a letter you had written to home, and I might have gotten it from Aunt Winnie. Daddy wrote home to his mama and, you know, just telling her he was going to be okay. And he said, there's nothing wrong with me that your good biscuits will fix.
Oh, that's so nice. So, how old are you now, Uncle John?
92.
92. Okay. And how old were you when you enlisted, and how old were you when you got back from Korea, or back to the States?
I was 22 when it went in. So I missed I didn't go to World War II. And then
I'm sorry, I meant Korea. I'm sorry. Sorry, I meant Korea. Okay. And so you were about 24 when you got back, something like that, or 25? Okay. What was the worst thing about captivity?
that's so like going in, getting and put in prison, but it's just 7,000 miles from home.
Gotcha.
And you didn't know what was going on in the world, you know.
You didn't know how long you were going to be there either, I imagine, right?
You didn't know whether you were going to get to go home or not.
So did you get letters from Faye? Once the letters could come in, you got letters from her and stuff?
After that 6 months, we started getting mail from home. And Winnie, well, everybody wrote. But Faye, see, we wasn't married in, but I'd been dating her for 6 months. And she wrote. And some of the guys didn't get mail, you know.
You hope.
I would let her. Everybody read her letter.
Oh my.
Good letter writer.
Nothing embarrassing in there, was there?
No. There wasn't nothing permanent about the being together either.
Oh.
You could tell she was hoping for that, I bet you.
Gave you a lot to think about.
Yeah.
But I remember Daddy telling me, I'm so impressed at how you would always make the best of things. I'm trying to remember what you told me. Didn't you find a place, like y'all have work that you did, like doing kitchen work or whatever jobs that you had to do, but when you would get through, didn't you have a place like in a tree or an arbor or something you could climb up in and be by yourself and they didn't bother you or know where you were?
You know them, I don't know what they call them, but they have a long through cabin. they put rice straw and then they put mud over that, and then on the end of there was the kitchen was, you stepped down into it and you fired the pots and all were on top, and so the smoke and the heat would all the way through that camp building, and the chimney was on the end, so it kept you warm in the wintertime.
Okay.
In fact, sometimes it got so hot it was hard to sleep on it. You burn it up on one side and freezing on the top. But then there was another smaller building next to it was, I guess it might have been in-laws or something. But all that was one unit and had gates to get in and out of it. But on one end they had a place like that, something to dress it up, I guess. But up on the top, between the roof, right in there was a good place. So that's where I slept. I was a cook, so we got through cooking, climb up there in the summertime, and they left you alone, and a lot of flies around there. And the insects didn't bother. So that's where I spent I got in the habit of taking a nap, and I'm still taking a nap.
I like naps. Naps are good.
So what kind of food, could you cook American food, or was it all kimchi and other kinds of Korean food, or rice and noodles and Korean food? What kind of food did you miss the most, you think?
Well, we had cooked rice. Well, to start with, we ate whatever they had. Seaweed and sorghum. It's like, we had syrup cane, and you stripped and made syrup, and then we didn't eat the seed, but they eat the seed. It was sorghum. It didn't have much juice in it. We used to chew cane all the time. And they took the top of that and made livestock food, and you could cook it, and it was better than nothing.
But did you lose a lot of weight too? Was it?
Yeah, about 50 pounds.
Wow.
And they also, y'all had some, I think Eric wants to know, what was the first thing you wanted to eat when you got home?
Mama's biscuit.
Fried chicken, probably.
Anything home cooked, I bet sweet potato was in there somewhere, wasn't it?
See, come home on the ship, we were, when time of release over there, it was probably 2 or 3 weeks before we got home.
Okay. Now, did you get released at the war's end, or had that camp been liberated by the Allies during the war?
No, they had the
Peace Treaty. Okay. And did y'all know it was coming, or was it just a big surprise all of a sudden out of the blue? They said you're free to go or something.
No, they had
Yes, please.
a system. We got their news all the time.
Okay.
But we didn't get. But we knew what was going on in the peace conference at John.
I got you.
So one day we were up high, the rumor was good, and the next day or two it'd be real bad. So it was
So when they did free you, was it a thing where, did American troops come in to get you, or did they put you in buses and send you back to the American side, or how did they do that part of it?
We left the camp that was on open trucks.
Okay.
So we left on that, and then we went up close to the Yalu River, the border between that and Manchurian, and got on the boxcars.
Oh, wow.
And the boxcars brought us to POW-Army.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you were pretty far into North Korea where you were in prison then. You were right near the Chinese border? I didn't realize that. Okay. Wow.
It probably took us about a half a day on the truck to get from the camp to the river.
Okay. And then, was there a certain moment when the train crossed into U.S. territory that you guys knew you were free? Or was there a feeling of elation at that point, or?
Well, that all happened at night.
Okay.
We didn't know. We went back through Pam and John, but it was night, and we didn't know when it happened.
Okay. And then you got to, when was the first time you saw free American troops or American people? Was that, do you remember that emotion or that feeling?
Yeah.
I'll let you finish eating. I'm sorry.
I bet he remembers the first American food he had.
Yeah. Did you have that on the American base in Korea? What was it? Do you remember?
Oh, I remember that.
It was chow.
Yeah. Okay. And then did you come home by ship or by airplane or?
We come from Korea to California by ship.
By ship. Okay.
And then we flew to Atlanta.
Flew to Atlanta. And was your whole family there at the airport and stuff?
A lot of them were.
Yeah. And I remember they had a big celebration for you in Carrollton, didn't they? Gotcha. Yeah. I heard you got a new car or something like that too.
They had a big banner across the square that said "Welcome home, John."
Wow, that's something else.
Mama was sitting in the car with you in the parade, and there's a picture of your mom and daddy and you and Mama standing on a stage at home. I remember that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's neat. Well, let me let you enjoy your meal. Thank you for sharing all that with us. Okay.